Houston Texans, Green Bay Packers. Let's get into the matchup. Let's get into what we like. If only this was the Thursday nighter, because this Thursday nighter sucks camel dick. Anyways, let's talk quarterbacks. We got CJ Stroud versus Jolo, aka Jordan Love. Hopefully, the Jolo nickname sticks. I think it's dope. Let's talk about the opportunities the Packer defense presents for CJ Stroud. They are seventh when it comes to passing touchdowns per game. They allow 1.67 pass touchdowns per game, 34.5 pass attempts per game to opposing quarterbacks. That's eighth. The Packers defense allows 22.3 pass completions to opposing quarterbacks. That's 10th. And the Packers defense allows 248.5 passing yards per game. That's eighth most advantageous opportunity. If you're looking at CJ Stroud's props currently, his passing yards is at 255.5. I think he goes over. I do like that. The completions is right in line with what they allow, maybe inflated by one number. I don't like his rushing yards at all. His completions is currently at 23.5. Once again, they allow 22.3. The pass plus rush, I don't like that either. Over 0.5 interceptions thrown. If you guys know the Green Bay Packers, they have a takeaway at least in every single game. I think that's my favorite prop for CJ Stroud. But everything else is super doable. I like the completions. If they have a longest completion, I'd definitely be inclined to take that one. Let's talk about Jordan Love and the opportunity the Houston Texans defense presents this week in the Week 7 matchup. So if we're talking about passing touchdowns, now pay attention to these numbers because they're significantly skewed. If we're talking about passing touchdowns, it's the second most advantageous matchup this week. The Houston Texans allow 2 passing touchdowns per game. Now, if we're talking about passing attempts, it's the 22nd most advantageous. So not very advantageous at all at 30 pass attempts per game. If we're talking about pass completions, it's the least advantageous matchup on the week at 16 pass completions. If we're talking about pass yards, we're looking at 185 pass yards. That's 29th. Not advantageous. It's the third least advantageous matchup on the week. So let's look at the props because, like, obviously it's skewed. They allow 185 pass yards. Jordan Love's pass prop is at 252.5. It doesn't automatically mean it's an under because it's not a great matchup for Josh Jacobs either. If we're looking at completions, Jordan Love's completions is at 20.5. Pass plus rush. He's not really a rushing threat, so I don't really care about it. It's weird. It's weird. I'm not betting on that. I kind of don't want to bet on CJ Stroud, but I will tell you one thing. Both of these guys are top 5 quarterbacks this week. 100% expect 2 to 3 passing touchdowns from both of them. This is going to be an absolute shootout game. I'm very excited for it. This is the second most exciting game on the slate. That's for damn sure when it comes to offensive production and me wanting to invest in DFS and whatnot. So I love both of these quarterbacks. I'm trying to stack them up. Let's talk about the running back game or the running back matchup here. I want to give the edge to Joe Mixon. It's Joe Mixon versus Josh Jacobs. Currently, the Packers defense allows 0.5 rushing TDs per game. That's the 21st most advantageous, and that's super advantageous. So pretty much every game and a half, they allow a rushing touchdown. The Packers rushing defense allow 89.17 rush yards. Not super advantageous either, 25th. But here's where the advantage is really coming. Why I like Joe Mixon, especially PPR format. They allow 5 receptions per game. That's the 9th most advantageous matchup. They allow 44.83 receiving yards per game. That's the 4th most advantageous matchup. So if we're looking at his receiving props, right now it's currently at 17.5 receiving yards. I'm smashing the over. I absolutely think the over is an absolute must. Smash the fucking over. 17.5 receiving yards for Joe Mixon. I love it. Let's talk about Josh Jacobs and if there's any advantages there against the Texans defense. Obviously you have to start both of these guys, but I don't think that Josh Jacobs is going to be a top 15 back this week. Just putting that out there. He's very touchdown dependent, and I don't think he's going to be the one punching it in this week. If we're talking about rushing touchdowns, same as the Green Bay Packers, 20th, 21st. 0.5 rush TDs allowed per game. The Houston Texans allow 78.5 rushing yards per game. Imagine rush TDs. That's the 22nd most advantageous, so not very advantageous. And then receiving, especially since this isn't Josh Jacobs' game anyways, they're the 31st best defense. So second best defense when it comes to allowing opposing running backs to get receptions. That's 3.17 receptions per game. And then 30th, 23 receiving yards. Not very advantageous at all there. Josh Jacobs, I'm not betting on any of his props. Don't really like it. 2.5 receptions. I'll probably hit the under, but I don't like it. I'm not touching it. It's too gross. It's too gross. Let's talk about what's not gross. which is the wide receivers in this matchup. It's absolutely spectacular. Obviously, I have Stephon Diggs face there, but Tank Dell's also in play, and obviously I have Jaden Reed's face there, but Romeo Doubs and potentially Christian Watson are both also in play. So let's talk about what the Packers defense allows on average to opposing wide receivers. Once again, these numbers are for positional statistical categories only, right? So they allow 11.17 receptions to opposing wide receivers. That's 17th. Not great, not bad. They allow 146.83 receiving yards. Not great, not bad. 15th. They allow 0.33 receiving touchdowns. That's 10th. Not great, not bad. I assume one of these guys are going to find the end zone because this is going to be a shootout. I will say this. Based off of the numbers that we've seen and what we've read, I have concluded that the longest reception for every wide receiver on the screen currently, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Jaden Reed, and Romeo Doubs, is something that I'm going to bet on this game. I really, really do like that. Plus, Joe Mixon receiving yards. If that's a 5x, that's a 5 prop bet. That's 20x on Drafters Fantasy. If you put $5, that's $100 right there. Sign up on Drafters using promo code DISCO to double your initial deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Let's keep going. Let's talk about what the Texans defense allows to opposing wide receivers, which is also very skewed and very weird and why I like the longest reception prop for both of these wide receivers for the Green Bay Packers. The Texans allow 10.17 receptions to opposing wide receivers. That's 24th most advantageous matchup. They allow 141.33 receiving yards. 20th, not advantageous on either one of them. Here's where it becomes advantageous, and I do like Jaden Reed for an anytime touchdown. Seems like a sure thing. They allow 1.5 receiving touchdowns per game. That's the 4th most advantageous opportunity. All these guys, in my opinion, are must-starts this week. All of these guys, 100%. And you'll probably find all of these guys in like the top 15, top 20 of week 7 finishes for the wide receiver position PPR format. All right, let's talk about the tight end matchup. My guy Dan, NFL DFS picks, you guys will recognize him from a bunch of my streams that you've seen in the past and a bunch that you'll see in the future. I respect the hell out of him. He's one of the best parlay guys out there. Absolutely brilliant, right? He went out on a limb and tried to pull a me and claimed that he likes Dalton Schultz as tight end 1, and I see why when I'm crunching the numbers, okay? The Packers defense they allow opposing tight ends 6.17 receptions on average per game, which is the 3rd most advantageous matchup on the week. They allow 56.83 receiving yards, which is the 6th most advantageous matchup on the week, and they allow 0.33 receiving touchdowns, which is tied for 9th. And shockingly enough, they're tied for 9th with the Texans defense. But here's where I don't like it. Sorry, it's a little spelling error there, or not spelling error. I just didn't edit it, but it's 0.33 touchdowns that the Texans defense allows to opposing tight ends. But it's the 32nd most advantageous opportunity when it comes to receptions. Once again, I didn't change that. And it's the 32nd most advantageous opportunity when it comes to receiving yards. It's a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup for Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft is on my sit list. Dalton Schultz is on my start list. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Getting sick, but I'm pumping these out. If you guys like the video, please like the video. It really does help us grow, and subscribe to the channel and turn those bell notifications on, and I'll see you for the next video. Let's freaking go.